we've got, now I know why, because the next thing we're going to talk about. So this week we've got a standard review, because all three of us have partaken in one particular activity, and that is going to the movies. So this week...
As we do often enough.
There was a good lull there.
Yeah, I wasn't at the movies.
The holiday season's back in full kick.
Yeah, we got the December making money.
Oscar bait and all that stuff.
Exactly. So this week we are reviewing the brand new movie, Fantastic Beasts.
And where to find them.
Very small subtext there. So what we'll do here is, because I do want to talk spoilers, because I want some Harry Potter discussion here. So first what we're going to do, we're just going to review the movie without spoiling it, give you what we thought, thumbs up, thumbs down, all that good stuff. And then we'll get into Spoiler Town and what we didn't like, what we liked, and all that good stuff. So
cool.
So this movie, and correct me if I am wrong in any of this, because I am not a gigantic Harry Potter fan and haven't read the books, haven't even watched all the movies. But
how dare you?
My understanding is that this movie is set in the Harry Potter universe, or as I'm calling it, the HPU.
Sure.
TM. So in the Harry Potter universe, this is in the 20s, so this is... I think this predates. Yeah, this predates like 70 or 60 years before Harry Potter, because I don't even know when Harry Potter.
It's Harry Potter.
So what's going on in this is you have somebody who is from the wizardy world visiting an Englishman in New York. TM again. Sting will be mad at me. But he's visiting from England, and he's brought this suitcase with him that is full of all these amazing different creatures. And he's apparently coming to New York or to America to accomplish something, which you'll find out later in the movie. Not going to spoil that. And then some of those things get out. And
hilarity ensues.
Chaos starts happening, and it's this kind of trying to track down some of the things that got out of the case, and you meet new characters. And it actually... What I think this movie does more than anything is make the Harry Potter, the HPU as I'm calling it now, the Harry Potter universe bigger, which is important.
Yeah, it definitely sets up these movies like this. And it was supposed to be a trilogy, but they're going to do 5 movies.
Of course they are.
You know why, though? Because Warner Brothers is like, hey, this DC thing's not working.
this DCU, as David will say. It's just not working out, guys.
And so J.K. Rowling was like, I don't know, guys. What do you think about 5 movies? And WB was like, yes,
please.
I did an interview with her, and she was like, well, we were writing it, and I already had like the whole story in place of what I want to do, and when I was writing everything down, it just seemed more like 5 movies that where it's fit best. I'm like,
they're like, put her on a train and make it an extra movie.
Yeah, exactly. And WB was like, please.
Well, it's supposed to take place, the whole story, the 5 movies, is supposed to take place over 19 years, so... They don't want to rush that. Yeah.
And so it stars...
Also, it should be interesting, the Wizarding World in World War II. I'm in it.
Yeah, exactly. It's two great tastes that taste great together. No, so it stars a bunch of people. The main character who's Newt...
Scamander? Or it's not Salamander.
No, it sounds like Commander. Scamander.
Yeah.
Newt Scamander is the main character that you've seen in the trailers. He's played by Eddie...
Redmayne or Remain?
He was famous. He just won an Oscar for Theory of Everything, the movie about Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, your wife was just telling me that. I was like, oh, I don't know.
So big,
and he was in the wonderful Jupiter Ascending.
Well, again, I think
you have your highs and lows.
Yeah, exactly. We can't win them all. So he's in it. He plays the main character. You also, of course, have Colin Farrell.
Farrell.
I don't know how to say it anymore. He plays, I think his name is Graves. He works for essentially the Ministry of Majesty of the U.S. Congress of Magic.
Which I thought was cool.
It's like we give ourselves the dumbest names here in the U.S. Like Ministry of Magic sounds awesome. We're like U.S. Congress of Magic.
She was Madam President.
Yeah, so
the only woman president we're going to have her in these movies.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Seriously.
Exactly.
I'm bringing it back.
And so what ends up happening is these characters kind of are, again, the beasts get out, but there's a bigger narrative going on in the world of magic. Just like in the Harry Potter movies later on, there's this idea of like, you got to suppress, you can't show off magic to the muggles.
The non-magic. Yeah, the no-mage.
They're called no-mage, but they were called muggles in Harry Potter, right?
Yeah, he was like, we called them muggles.
Yeah, so there's this cool mechanic of feeding the baby birds that loved Harry Potter and all that stuff. Yeah, you got to show the clues to all the bigger narrative that might
and of course there's name drops, here and there.
Dumbledore.
And they definitely leave, there's a bunch of different clues like, oh, who's that girl in that picture? Don't worry, we'll have plenty of movies. Yeah.
There's
a lot of those.
And again, I know I'm not a huge fan, but I know there was a couple people in the audience who were like, like they, so there's a little bit of that in it. But let's review it on its own. What we thought about it. It is definitely that wizardy world movie with the Harry Potter flair, but it's also got the cool 1920s timepiece thing going on in it too. So, thumbs up, great movie. Thumbs to the side, meh. Thumbs down is
bad.
Bad. 1, 2, 3. All right, we got 3 thumbs up.
Way up.
So tell me why you guys like this movie.
I like this movie because it's Pokemon Go, but in the 1920s, and with magic.
I was gonna say, yeah, this movie is like Darwinism meets Harry Potter meets like fish out of water type thing. Not to use, but like the Englishman in New York type thing, because there's a constant discussion about how they do things
differently
in England with wizards versus here in America.
That's probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, is just seeing the contrast of the UK, where they do try to hide it, but they're not as hidden, and like they can marry each other and all that kind of stuff.
There's more of like
mudbloods, and stuff like that. But here it's like strictly, obviously they have
it's illegal to marry a nomad or to even talk to one.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's
like
some barriers that are still up.
You have to obliviate, if anyone catches wind, all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. So, and again, the graphics in this movie are insane. Like the beast, like you're talking about the Pokemon stuff, all of the different creatures that you get to see in this movie are fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, they look
good.
And there are a lot of fantastic beasts in this movie.
I know. But no, they look amazing. Like the CGI in this, the work is really well done. And again, with all this stuff, it's all CGI, but the actors in it do a really good job of conveying like frustration or comedy or interaction with them. It's very good. And like, if you're an animal lover, like this movie gets you. Like I went with my mother-in-law. She loves like horses and all different kinds of animals. I know because she constantly posts it on Facebook. She was like loving this movie. Like they play up, it's like your little dog has a personality. All these different beasts have a little personality. You get to learn throughout the movie, and they're all so cute, but also terrifying at times. It definitely tugs at that magical world of Harry Potter, but in a fun and exciting in both ways, like scary, exciting, but it's a great, fun, thrilling movie. And it makes Harry Potter, the HPU, so much more interesting. TM, so much more interesting. Like I'm glad that they didn't like, I wish more franchises would do this, where they're like, hey, it's in this universe, all these things, but like, here's a whole different cast of characters that you're going to fall in love with again. Don't lean so much on like, what people already know. And they do a good job in this movie of not doing that. But like, I love all these characters, like all of them. There's a character that's not a magician. His name is Kowalski, and he's like a baker trying to get Jacob Kowalski. He's like the best. He's hilarious.
I liked it because like the whole movie, he was just like wide open, like his eyes are wide. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. Like
the whole movie.
Yeah. So again, I can't recommend this enough. If you're a kid, you'll love it because of the magic part. If you're an adult, it's got some pretty dark turns in the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for a movie that is obviously Harry Potter, they say it's for kids, but it's I think both worlds could definitely get something out of it. The kids will love the animals.
Yep.
And there are enough lighthearted scenes for a kid to not disengage. And then for the adults, there's more of the kind of like, kind of like how like society is like, don't hide who you are type of thing. Yeah,
like they deal with segregation in this movie, like in a large part. So they deal with bigger concepts of
them versus us,
which I found I thought that was like a really interesting concept.
And the dark tone kind of fits because it's not like the first two Harry Potter movies where they're more lighthearted and but it's definitely more dark. And I was looking at like the director David Yates, who was directing all 5 of these movies, by the way.
Well, that they thought about, they were supposed to do that with all the Harry Potter movies, and then the director was like, wait, I want to have a family and like recognize my kids when they get older, like, you know what I mean? Like when you say you're going to direct 5 movies, that's a pipe dream.
But he also directed Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and the 2 Deathly Hallow movies.
So the darker of the Harry Potter movies.
Exactly. So it kind of fits that tone.
And my understanding is the reason for that is, well, they're not darker, but they're just more adult themed because Rowling's the idea was that you're growing up with the books, right? So you can figure it out. I guess now we just assume kids can handle it. Trump's president. I'm just kidding. Deal with it.
Yeah, those kids these days, they can handle anything.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so now that we've got what we like, what we didn't like, is there anything you guys didn't like specifically?
There were a couple lines that I was like,
a little too on the nose. They're fantastic beasts.
Just made me roll my eyes a little bit.
I watched it in IMAX 3D, which I do like IMAX. I'm over 3D. The thing is
getting too old, David.
Well, to get off my lawn here, but get off my lawn, 3D. I already had you in my real life. The problem that I have with it in this movie is quite long. It's I would say it's probably close to 3 hours. I don't know, maybe 2.5 hours. It felt really long. The concern that I have with 3D now is that it's just depth. It's just creating this sense of depth of field. So there's foreground and background. There's not much like, woo, like when they tell you to put on the 3D glasses, they ham it up, man.
133 minutes, David.
So how long is that?
It's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
It felt long. I felt longer. Maybe it was the 3D and I had to go to the bathroom halfway through, so I was like, "This movie's so long." But the 3D just isn't It's not engaging. It's not enough to make me want to have to wear these glasses, and everything's a little darker. We've talked about that because of the tint on it, and you can't really even turn your head slightly one way because it'll come out of focus. And we sat in IMAX because it's such a big screen. You really got to get to the back of the theater, which we weren't. So I ended up getting a slight headache after we were done. So I think I'm 3D. There's not enough there. There's not enough meat on the bones. It's just, oh, this is cool for 2 hours and 13 minutes. You know what I mean? It's cool for like 35 seconds because like one of the little beasts will jump on the screen and wow, that looks cool. And then it's nothing.
Yeah.
Well, my thing with 3D is always like either it's got to be filmed in 3D, like something like Avatar obviously pioneered that, which is fantastic in 3D. I can watch that, or animated movies because it just kind of fits that space. Anything other than that is it's post converted for one, so it's all software conversion. It's not filmed in 3D, and you could tell. I haven't seen a 3D movie in a while, so I don't. I'm assuming it's better than it used to be. I remember I think I saw Clash of the Titans in 3D or whatever. It was like the worst post conversions I've ever seen.
Yeah. It wasn't
so I would
bad.
stick to those kind of things for 3D.
No, it's not bad. It's just it doesn't provide enough for the additional cost and the additional frustration of having to go through the rigmarole. You know what I mean? Like it's like if it was something like Avatar where it's like, whoa, I didn't even know that you could do that, or it literally gets me a couple times to jump out of the way, or something that's it's a chocolate sauce that's already covered in chocolate sauce. Like I don't need it. Like it was already. I want to just now, and now I'm almost like I feel like I missed some things because 3D also focuses you to stare at. You can't maybe this is just me, but some of the outer edges of your vision start to kind of get blurry because you're trying to focus.
You're so focused on this, you don't really notice.
Yeah, so
else.
that part I'm like, I feel like I'm not actually getting I'm watching it in letterbox, not widescreen, which drives me nuts. So that's the only reason but that's not the movie's fault. That's my fault for buying that ticket. But overall, just absolutely love the movie. And
in this movie, there's a pug. So
there is a pug within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, what is funny now? Whenever I do see a pug, I'm like, oh, the Bales will like that.
I know. Sarah's like, we both looked at each other. There's a pug on the screen.
There's a dog on the screen of a breed we have. I love it.
How dare you?
All right, so now that we got through that and we gave our review, I want to get into spoiler territory because I have some questions. You guys are a little bit more bigger Harry Potter than me, HPU fans.
Sure.
I'm bringing it.
TM.
It's coming up. So just a little background. I watched the first 4 movies. How many are there of the Harry Potter? 7?
Mm-hmm.
Because they split the last one, right? So I would think I watched the first.
There are 8? There's 7 books, right?
There might have been 8. I don't know. And there's also the one that came out just recently.
The Cursed Child one.
Yeah, so I've only seen the first 4 movies. I have not read any of the books. I have no desire to because I think it was one of those things I needed to read it. Like I don't want to
Growing up.
Yeah, I needed to read it while it came out.
You think it would be weird to read it
You know what is it? I think it came out those books came out right after it was cool not to read them. You know what I mean? Like,
speak for yourself, David.
That's exactly what I tell Gerald. Like at the time that Harry Potter was coming out, like for our generation, like I was already over those types of books.
Yeah, I can't say because I read up to Order of the Phoenix, which I think is the 3rd to last book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was definitely like hiding it, like keep the book at home kind of thing. Don't bring it to school.
And
then by that time, I never finished because I was just like, I'm over it, because it's that,
Yeah, and then when the movies, I remember when the movies came out, I was already I think I was already in high school when they came out.
Yeah, I was in high school when they came out.
Yeah, so I was like, I was like, oh, I don't know. I've never even heard of Harry Potter.
I don't even know what this is because I never read the books.
Yeah.
Please don't put me in a locker. So so the movie, the big thing in this movie is obviously the big reference to a lot of stuff that's that happens later on. Obviously, they make a reference that Newt, what's his name again? Scamander.
We'll say Newt.
Yeah, Newt Scamander. He was a favorite student of Dumbledore. So now Professor Dumbledore, not head wizard or whatever the hell. Headmaster. How dare me? So. Obviously, how old is Dumbledore? Like, does he have?
He's like 100 years old.
Oh, so he's a wizard.
Old.
So you can be really old if you're a wizard. Because I was like, this
fairly.
continuity doesn't he's a human. But I guess if you're a wizard, you can do something to make yourself live longer.
Like how? Watch the YouTube, guys.
So obviously that connects it all with. That's the moment when I was in the theater. Somebody behind me was like, "Oh, he said his name."
No, it wasn't that. It was the picture of the what's his name, Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz, yeah.
Zoe Kravitz, I was like, oh, who's that? It's like, oh, that's
his like girlfriend,
Lestrange. I was like, Lestrange, like that sounds so familiar.
That's Helen Bonham's character.
Yeah, Bellatrix.
Bellatrix Lestrange, something like
Who's
that.
a crazy dark wizard.
Right. So my question, okay, so for the and you've read some of the books, right? Like you said. So there's obviously this has like it feels like the Force, right? There's goodness to you can have good magic to help people, but you're really only supposed to. It feels like constantly you're supposed to only use it for like self-defense or if absolutely necessary. It's like karate, right?
Well, you have aurors, right? Auror, is that what it's called? Which are defenders of, like, they fight the bad wizards and stuff.
Right, but then you have the dark arts, right? Which they actually teach kids, which is smart, right? Like it's like sex ed, like tell kids like don't get pregnant. This is how you could still do all those terrible things and not get pregnant, right? You need to teach kids dark arts because like
protection against the dark arts,
right? But it's the idea like don't just say don't look that way because every kid is like what's in that?
Abstinence, guys.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's the point. I actually appreciate that in her J.K. Rowling did that. So you have these wizards that see this as this segregation of like wizards being the better, taking the higher road of not using their magic to influence people or to change their minds or read their minds or do terrible things. You're supposed to use it for good and be the better person. And some wizards are like, why?
Well, yeah, you have wizards like Tom Riddle.
Power.
You have wizards like Tom Riddle who are like, oh, I read this in a book from this section of the library I'm not supposed to go to. What's this? Right. And you start reading about these dark powers and stuff. And you kind of like you said, Jedi, like, oh, I want to learn to live forever, or keep people protected.
It's the same thing with like X-Men, right? The mutants are like, well, we don't show our mutant powers. We don't use them for evil. And then like one of them's like, well, we're the superior species, right? So that kind of is overplayed to some extent, but I don't mind because like again, this world is so cool. Mm-hmm. Like I love, first of all, the one thing. I know Harry Potter, it just doesn't look cool. I'm sorry. Again, go to the YouTube channel.
So this is the big thing that like irks you about Harry Potter, because like when you cast spells, you say them, expect to Patronum, and then you do your one, and then it does the spell. But now we're so far at the point where like having people say every single spell isn't as cool as like a gun battles, right? So then you have wands that are just like guns where you just flinging bolts of light at people.
Yeah, so that, like I said, that part, it doesn't come across as cool, so I don't mind it. But I loved how they dealt with the segregation issue kind of here.
We had like the new Salem. That was that's kind of cool.
Second Salem.
Yeah.
So the you have Ezra Miller who's in this. He plays Credence.
Oh,
yeah, Credence. Who? Okay, so my understanding is there's these group of wizard. So okay, are you born a wizard? Do you have, it's like the Force, so it's like midichlorians, right? Yeah. So you have the potential to be a wizard, but if it's not trained in the appropriate way, it can end poorly for you.
Right.
And that's they're called obscurers or obscurists.
Yeah, where it's just like a concentrated dark magic.
Right, but it's just magic energy. And then like forcing people not to use, it's an oppression of your magical ways, right? And if you hold that in, it's like holding in a sneeze, I assume. And if you just hold that in, it'll
take you over and you'll die.
Yeah, you'll die. So like,
but it's like a parasite. So like, that magic dies with you when your body dies. And most people don't live past 10. Right,
because the idea of like if you repress all of this energy, eventually, like sometimes it lashes out. Because again, the thing I read online about this, because I was like, what the hell are they talking about? Because again, there's parts of this movie that like clearly they take the audience serious, which I appreciate. But like some of it, I'm like, I have no idea. I get the concept, but you're talking to me like I know what you're talking about, right?
And I don't think any of this was from the old Harry Potters either.
Well, they talk about...
They didn't really talk about it in the old ones.
Well, there is something about Dumbledore's sister... something happened to her. I read some of this online, so take this with a grain of salt. But this idea that something happened to his sister, I guess, and this idea that she would lash out, she was picked on for using magic by some people, and then so she held it in at some point in time, and then she would lash out, and that's what those things do. The obscurist or whatever, I guess. That's when he's like, you can control it. He's like, I don't want to, and it's this idea of just like letting go of all this repressed magic that's inside of you.
And the big thing is because he's so old, because most people who have this problem don't live past 10. Right. So they die as kids.
And the reason he was repressed is because his stepmom, who is not really adopted him.
Mom, yeah.
Adopted mom told him like she was anti-wizard, which is a weird thing to be anti. I mean, I get it, the Salem witch thing, but it's just kind of like weird. Like the banner is the broken wand. It's like really the energy.
And I like when she walks up and like breaks it in front of her. It's like, oh, we get it.
Right. So
like, this is what we do.
So Newt apparently was able to separate that obscure magic from the child in Sudan.
South Africa?
Yeah, I think he said in Sudan. So she lived, and that's what he has in that like weird bubble.
Well, no, the child died.
Oh, I thought he said that he was able to save, or he tried to save her. I think right. So he was able to separate it, but she died from it.
Right.
Well, that didn't work out well. You saved the thing you were trying not to save. But
he wanted to study the thing to better like protect against it.
And I love that the whole scene where you're inside the suitcase is got to be one of the coolest like CGI. idea, like the flapping wind, the flapping flap to go into the winter, like the
different biomes you can call it.
It's just super cool. Like it's such an it's as a kid, you're just like, this is awesome. Like it's
very seamless too.
Yeah, and like all of the mutations of animals in there, they've got a little bit of something, like, oh, it looks like a tiger, oh, but then it has this growth or something, or it looks like a rhinoceros, but it glows and it makes things catch on fire with its horn, like,
and it's horny.
Yeah. What?
Giggity.
Oh yeah, it is horny. Yeah. And so it's like very Pokemon, right? You take something everyone's familiar with and you add some weird magic stuff to it, and that's great. And that, again, all of the little beasts have little characters.
And the little twig.
The twig is
look,
great.
It's baby Groot.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the little platypus thing that just kept stealing gold. Like, how cute is that little thing, man?
He was the best. Yeah, and he's like shaking him out, and there's like gold bars.
He's like tickling him, and keep more crap keeps falling
and like
out.
pick is the little like stick thing, and he's like, oh, I can pick locks. And by the way, that little house elf that came over and wanted to pick, was that I thought that was the voice of Hellboy.
It is.
Okay, that's what I thought. What's his
Clay
name?
from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That really ugly guy.
Oh, Pullman.
Yeah. Something Pullman.
I don't remember his name.
But yeah, I was like, oh, cool. But now I think even those, like the house elves, like, and just everything is cool. Like, I want to be there. I want to be in that bar. I want to like drink the giggle juice, and like everything there is so, it feels alive. Like the universe feels so. This movie, more than any of the Harry Potter movies that I watch, which again I only watched the first 4, so yell at me, internet. It just feels like a real place. Yeah. Like everything is so cool, and like all of the characters are great. I love the 2 Goldstein girls. I love that one of them is like, she's like, you seem nice. Why can't I talk to you? Like, you can't talk. You're not allowed to talk. And she's like, he seems like a nice guy. Like, it's breaking down, like, when you have a conversation with somebody, you're like, oh, you're not so bad. Why is everyone so fearful of this person?
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's a couple scenes in this movie where I was like, wow, this got dark really quick. We went down the dark road very, very quickly. The first one that I thought of was the part when they're going to kill Newt and the one Goldstein girl.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, you're going to go into this chair, and then it's just going to swallow you, and basically
they pull this like happy memories out of you, and like, so like, oh, doesn't that look great? Don't you want to go in the acid lava pool?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's like, part of me, I'm like, this is lethal injection, and this is like before when they put the drugs that make it feel good, make you go to sleep. I'm like, this is dark. Like, this is some dark, and they like.
But I don't get that. They have spells where they just be like, boom, you're dead. Why don't they just do that?
Because we're still.
Yeah, you gotta set it up.
You gotta
right?
make yourself feel good from executing these people. So I mean, that part was like really intense, like that whole scene, and then of course the last scene where they have to, because why do they call it obliviate people? Give it a better name.
Memories,
yeah, like obliviate. If I'm like, oh, you got obliviate. Wait, what?
Oh, you didn't see the movie, right? Yeah, or that's from the old Harry Potters as well. Hermione Granger does that to her parents to make them forget about her.
Oh, I know,
Super sad.
but my point is, why is it called the spell something else? Obliviate sounds like I thought they were like murdering people.
Well, I like it. Yeah, it was kind of funny because like, oh yeah, don't forget we have to obliviate him. Oh yeah, sure. And he's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? Like, oh, it's just wiping your memories. Okay, you guys should rename it, because I was a little like, I thought you were gonna make me turn into dust, right?
Yeah.
Like when you obliviate something, but. Yeah. Anyway, so the last scene where he has to walk out in the rain and basically get his memory washed, it's just
very
like
sad.
Super sad. But then I'm like, and had that thing where it's like, does he remember?
And I knew, like, I told Sarah, like, in the movie, like, there's no way his memories are gone. Like, he's such a memorable character. They're going to keep that guy through all 5 freaking movies.
But at the end, he grabs it. So do you think he does remember?
Yeah.
He grabs his neck and he's like, ah.
Yeah.
But do you think he knows that he's not supposed to know?
I don't know.
No, he's
maybe
like
just
some
like
blurry memories.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I remember you.
I remember.
Yeah, remember. A couple of things like I didn't like about the movie. First of all, like right off the bat, you see the WB logo and they play the Harry Potter theme. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. Like,
I love the newspaper though.
Mm-hmm.
I hated that.
I actually kind of felt bad about that, because it's like you have kids that are watching this and that went by really fast.
Oh yeah,
so I'm like, for the kids who are not, they're not really good speed readers. Like, I kind of felt bad. Like they're gonna kind of miss it, but
they super foreshadow. I mean, the first scene is what's his name? I can't remember. Is the bad guy?
The bad guy
with the blonde hair,
U.S.
the white
Voldemort,
hair.
I guess you could say.
Yeah. So you see his white hair when he kills, which
away.
was kind of like actually jarring, because like it's weird to have like the first. It's almost like 10 Cloverfield Lane, where it's like credits, and then it's just like terrible thing, and it's like, oh, okay, like you don't want to introduce a character or anything, or like tell me what the hell's going on.
But like whenever movies do that, like the very beginning of the movie, we got new stories, we got exposition, all this kind of stuff. I'm just like, it's borderline lazy.
It is.
So that's just kind of a pet peeve
but it's
of mine,
also jarring. I mean, and at the end of it, and then you go on to the movie. But the big reveal, of course, in this movie is at the end that Colin Farrell is actually in disguise as
Johnny Depp and freaking
Johnny Depp playing the main character. Again, I can't. It's like
the big bad wizard. They only mentioned him a few times.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Grindelwald or something like that.
Something like that. Sorry, Harry Potter fans, HPU fans. But what did you guys think about that? Because the first thing I was like, oh.
I actually really liked.
I didn't know anything about that, so I didn't know he was in the movie.
Yeah,
so I was
well, because they announced him for the second movie, but they didn't say anything about him being in the first movie.
Yeah, so it was definitely surprising for me. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But again, I'm like, freaking Johnny Depp. Can you just play something, a good role without crap all over your face? He can't do it.
No,
I don't know.
He's got the mustache.
I'm into the Sparrow, so
Every freaking time.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just kind of one of those things. Well, you know what it is? I think it's because other than I guess it's hard. But Colin Farrell's like really the only person that's like a really high, like U.S. known mainstream actor, and then now you've dropped Johnny Depp into the movie, and I'm like, I kind of wish it was someone. I think you have people like John Voight in the movie. You have obviously Eddie Remain,
who's God, you're so bad at names.
I'm bad with names.
I correct
Sorry.
you, and then you just don't remember.
Remain, who won an Oscar, but I mean, a lot of people, like mainstream audiences, didn't go out and see Theory of Everything. So I was kind of like, it's fine to have big actors for the side characters.
You don't need it. It's freaking Harry Potter.
No,
the HPU, David.
No, I know. And like I said, the concept of he's like this zealot who thinks of like wizards are who is it protecting? It's supposed we're the ones that are the chosen ones, not these non-mad.
I thought that he played this was a really good role for him. Like he really kind of fits into that.
He will. I think he'll play a good
Magic.
bad guy. He hasn't really played like quote unquote. He's played like an anti-hero with Jack Sparrow, but even then he's really kind of a good guy. But I want to see him as like bad guy.
But I just didn't like at the very beginning. Obviously, you see the big, we'll call him Greenwald, right? Whatever, we'll make up his name.
Grindelwald,
walk out with the hairstyle, and then you bring Colin Farrell, and it's like the same exact hairstyle. I'm like, that's him. I freaking know it's going to be him by the end of the movie.
Well, you kind of have an idea because he's working on the side with Ezra Miller's or with Credence to try to figure out who the child was, and his goal, I guess, was to harness the energy of that child. Who was
I think so, yeah.
That because he even says he's like, we will think of the things we could do together, right? Yeah. And it was actually I liked how they wrapped up the obliviate everybody in the city because I'm like, how are they gonna? How is this not
destroying
known?
like half of New York?
Yeah, I'm like,
all this
how
kind of
is
stuff?
this not known? And then second, while they're like fixing everything in New York, I'm like, why does anyone have cancer in this world? You wizards are very selfish. Like, there's a lot of terrible things that go on, and you guys didn't do anything about it. But I get it, where it's like we're not supposed to intervene. Like humans will be, and even says like they're out there with the most dangerous characters. Pause. Humans. It's like, oh god, really? Like,
it is kind of cool though. They mentioned like how Walski or the baker or whatever, he was in the war.
Yep.
And they're like, well, where were you? And they were saying like he was up north fighting or on the eastern front. Like, but wizards were in the war too. That's kind of cool. It's like, I want to see that.
Yeah, me too. That's why I'm
like,
if this bleeds over into World War II, I'm in.
Yeah,
it has to, right? It has to. I like the idea. Again, I'm always. I like when you take real things and you add weird stuff to it.
Yeah,
there's
alternative
revisionist.
history.
Yeah, I love that stuff because then you get that like nugget of like, oh yeah, that's Normandy. Oh, but then this guy running up with a wizard wand. It's like,
die Nazis.
You know what I mean? Like,
they're like German wizards too,
yeah,
like
sure.
Nazi
I'm sure
wizards.
There was no, because you got to think about it. Like, it's the same idea. Like, I'm sure the reason the Nazis had all this technology in this world is because they were mixing human technology with magic, and like that's fine.
But I would love to see that because, like, in the old Harry Potter, there are obviously schools all around Europe. Remember, there's like the German school where Crumb is from. That'd be kind of cool. Like, oh, the German school is shutting down. Oh, what's going on? Like, that would be kind of cool.
And they even make a reference.
French school, and
they make a reference. He's like, no, the school here in the U.S. is the best. And hogwash, it's not Hogwarts. Like,
the thing that made me roll my eyes was when Kowalski was like, "Oh, is there an American Wizarding World School ever?" And I was just like, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
I get it."
And you're gonna see that, I know, in the next movie too.
But like I said, they do a good job of setting up a new band of characters that have different quirkiness. Like I said, Newt is super quirky, and I love him. He's the coolest.
By the way, that's what he's like in real life.
Oh, really?
Eddie Remain. Like, if you see interviews, he's like weird, shy, and awkward.
Yeah,
so
like
this is how he is.
When he's talking, he's always looking away when he's talking to people.
Kind of like twitching.
And he like bites his bottom lip.
And then like the part at the end where he's like, because he's writing it like the Darwin book, right? He's writing like the idea of
that. Well, this movie came from. That's one of the textbooks that the kids buy. Is a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, written by
that's I love it. I love when you weave
so when
in
he's
everything.
like, I'm going to go back and write this manuscript, that's the textbook that the kids study from.
Right. And so and obviously during this movie it seems like they're trying to kill all these animals. Like they're seen as a threat, right? And then in the Harry Potter time frame, those are like when they pull up those things out of the ground and they all screaming. Like that's one of the movies.
Mandrakes.
The mandrakes. Like now it's like, oh, we teach them about. It's like biology, right? Like we're teaching about animals.
Like you were saying, like there's nothing harmful in there. Don't worry about that.
Right.
You know?
And I even think of what's the big guy that has the giant like. He's the one that's off the ground. Hagrid has like a big giant. Was it like a dragon or?
Well, he has a bunch of giant
beast,
creatures,
right? Like, and he's like,
and
stuff. That's my point. Like, I this is so cool. Like, it's cool that you're reintroducing new. It's like, honestly, it's like Star Wars. New characters, same world. We're gonna get to the people that the other people know. We're gonna mention them. We're gonna do those things.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna create a new band of characters that you're gonna fall in love with for all different types of other reasons, and then eventually we're gonna connect those two things, and it's gonna be the secret sauce that everyone loves and everyone loses their mind. So.
Apparently it's doing very well. It's 76% Rotten Tomatoes, so it's a solid movie. I'm sure it's gonna
only 76. Really, I would have given this a better number. I would have thought this would have had a better overall score.
I'd have to look to see how it compares to the other Harry Potter movies, but that's about right, I think.
I would think it would be better. Just generally, I don't see anything that other than it. The length, it's a little long, but other than that, the world is just so cool, and the CGI again is caught up where it looks super real. Fantastic, and it's super good. So
yeah, I liked the Auror. I forget what her name was, the main girl with the short hair, but I like that she was, throughout the whole movie, she was wearing pants in kind of like a time where a lot of women wore dresses a majority of the time. So I
kind of
played
that off too. It's like, you're not allowed in here. And I understand like she was banned from that, but it's still like kind of anti.
No, that's the thing. Is it like it's tackling issues involved in the time period too, which is super cool. Yeah. And it's just they've got me hook, line, sinker. I like it. I enjoyed it. I think it was
cool that they had the Madam President. Don't we wish? And
the wizarding world is further along.
In the 20s.
Yeah, in the 20s they've got a female president, and she's black. Jeez,
yeah, exactly. Double whammy there. And then
took us another 90 years to catch up. But go ahead.
And then I also like the U.S. Logo for their Ministry of Magic. Cool. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, and I also like the idea of like the bureaucracy of the U.S. Congress of Magic.
Oh, they had threat levels?
Yeah, threat levels.
That was kind of
and
cool.
Like there's a lot of like Americana, like, not Americana, but like making fun of like all the paperwork. Oh, do you have your wizard permit for your wand? It's like, I'm a freaking magician. I could murder you. Like, I don't need a permit. And so,
all foreigners are required to have one.
Right, yeah. There's definitely that oh God, what is that? Where you don't want the other, like, why are you bringing a case in here? Where are you from? What's your name? It feels, it's got that, it's very good. They can go a lot of different places with it. And again, I love timepiece movies, and they nail it. All the cars look great. All the buildings look awesome.
Costumes, everything.
Costumes great. First of all, we need to start dressing like that again. Everyone wears a suit.
Hats everywhere.
Yeah, hats
soon.
and awesome.
The 20s are right around the corner, David.
That's true. We could
don't
bring
let
it
your
back.
dreams be dreams.
The little ties, and everyone wears it. It's just awesome. So, anyways,
I'm glad it works out because WB, if the other franchise won't work, this will.
Bring Harry Potter into DCU. Why not? Who cares? He's a superhero.
Anything will make that franchise better, right?
Yeah. Oh, I did want to bring up. Okay, so I know this is kind of we'll do this as a little separate thing, but so during the preview of that movie, there was, since we have you on the show, I got to talk about Disney. What's up with Are they literally going to live action every Disney movie now?
Apparently.
Is that like 7 or 8 in production right now?
Yeah, and in the trailer for this movie, they showed the final or the first, or is it like the full?
It's the first trailer.
It's the first trailer.
Full length trailer for Beauty and the Beast, the live action version.